how to convince others in the good way. Hi innately whole beings, I'm Viktor Sághy, intuitive coach and heart leader, and today we will talk about persuasion, how to convince others. Why is this an important topic? It's an important topic because we all practicing this whenever we want it or not. Day-to-day life, either you are an entrepreneur, businessman, a parent, a kid, you always showing up in the world, and you always have a desire, something which is you and you want to represent. So there are two main parts of persuasion, and then we will break down even more. So first there is the intention of persuasion, and there is the technique. And while our experience about persuasion, mostly the cheap, pushy salesman or someone who's got dark agendas, persuasion can be beautiful. Because if the intention part is correct, and the understanding part is correct, and the techniques used properly, persuasion won't feel like persuasion. And because the intention is right, persuasion won't be persuasion. It will be rather eliciting possibilities from the others if the possibilities are there, and being okay with receiving no, with the possibility not being there. So breaking down persuasion even more, there are three parts of being persuasive. The first part of being persuasive is how do you feel with yourself? How are you with yourself? How can you represent yourself? So this is important, for example, when you conveying your truth. How do you feel about you making a decision and telling it to someone? So, for example, I want money. that's something many people feel guilt. An area that many people feel guilt at. So I want money. How do you feel about that? Or I want love. So for example, something you love, you would love to have. How do you feel about that? Can you own it? Can you show up and say, I want this? And you okay with that? I want this. And you holding the space, you absolutely okay with the external world deciding. So you see there is no persuasion, there is more of self-responsibility, there is more of me owning what I decided or what I want to show up in my world, and being okay with that, and being okay with the world not conforming to me. You see, so you persuade by not persuading. The second part is the connection with the person. So if you are, for example, a businessman, you have a product and you want to sell your product. Primarily, people don't buy your product. They primarily, or before the product, they buy you, or they buy the company. They buy what you or the company stand for, and they buy the connection, the trust, the relationship between you. So the second part of persuasion, you see, is about connection, is about having trust and rapport and service and coming from the right place, because people will pick it up, being honest, being vulnerable, and coming from that really the serving place. So you see, there is no persuasion, because what you do is basically you're not scheming, you building a relationship, and you understand the other person first. So this is a really important part. If you want to be understood, understand first. So understand first, and then you will be understood, right? So how does it look? If you want to convince others, make sure that you listen more than you speak. Because if you really can get the other person, if you really can get what they need, you won't sell apples to monkeys. Meaning that you will understand what they need, and you can give them what they need. And when someone feels heard, then naturally after a time they will want to hear you out too. But if there is just always this pushing of features and pushing of this is what I want and reasons, you can very easily build a wall and the connection is lost. So the second part is the strength, the rapport, the trust between the the other person and you. The third part is the relevance. Make it relevant. You see, stories are running our world. In movies, commercials, in teachings, you always find stories. Because this is how we decide. This is how we run our lives. When we elicit motivation within us to do an action, we think about certain things, images in the future that will make us feel in a certain way, and we will do things what we imagined, right? So for example, if I want to drink a smoothie, I start to imagine in myself me going into the kitchen, taking the fruits, chopping it up, putting it together and blending into a smoothie and drinking, and feeling it and tasting the smoothie, the beautiful taste. And that's how we make decisions. So instead of engaging the intellect, engage the feeling with stories. Make it relevant. Show example. Sometimes it's good to calm the logical mind with informations and stuff, but the magic really happens in the story part. First of all, who you are as a person. Secondly, what is the connection between you? And thirdly, how relevant you make it to. So talking about relevancy, let's make this relevant, especially the third part, with telling a story which I found really, really magical. The story I'm going to tell you is very, very magical because I think it's really relevant to all of us. So you see, I'm getting a lot of inspiration from my relationship, and I used to trying to convince my wife to go to the gym with me, right? And I tried for years to convince her. And there was a time when I realized that it was all about my insecurity. So you see, where you are at is really, really important. And after that, I stopped doing that. I stopped trying to convince. And what I did, I realized the desire within me that I want to get fit. So I went to the gym and I worked for 6 months to get in the shape where I want. And a very magical, strange and relevant thing happened, that she just stood, one day she just stood in front of me and told that I would like to go with the gym with you. Would you like to put together a meal plan to me and train with me? So that was a really beautiful example what I'm carry along my journey of how not to convince and how do convince, is that the real strength is in the example. The real strength is when you understand the other and you understand what they need and you can serve them in their need. And also, where are you at as a person? How okay you are with your desire and how well you can own it. So these are the 3 parts of persuasion. If you like this video, hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Connect to the Innately whole nation through social media. And today's question is, what would you add to the list and where did you have an insight? I would love to hear from you, and remember, you are innately whole. Bye.